Hi guys, I'm Megan Benanti, and today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I used tarot cards to help myself through my healing journey through cancer. And I had cancer 14 years ago, and this is all sort of triggered up because I just got it again. And I had breast cancer, so I had a full hysterectomy, a euphorectomy, which is the removal of your ovaries, and a hysterectomy, which is the removal of the uterus. So I had everything taken out. At the time, I did what they called a lat flap reconstruction, which is where they cut your lats off your back. Your lats only have nerve endings at one point. And so they slid it under my skin, they flipped it here, so I don't really have a lot of feeling right here, and then they sewed it to my chest muscle. So my implant could be supported both from the top and the bottom. And they thought that was a good idea at the time. I really struggle with a lot of lower back pain now because of that. And they no longer do this surgery, but you know, they gotta experiment and figure things out. And it's unfortunate I said yes. So anyway, so now my cancer's back, and I would say that I had more stress in the last 6 months and didn't live the healthiest lifestyle for about the last year that I normally would, because I'm kind of a gym rat, and with COVID I wasn't using the gym. And it was that, what, COVID-15 or whatever, we all got a little thicker hiding out in the house and watching Netflix. So anyway, this spurred me on to share this story with you guys a little bit, and I hope that maybe it'll help for someone along the way. I don't know how I will deal with my cancer this time. One, I am not worried about it. I felt the lump on March 1st, and it's now been 5 or 6 weeks before I could have surgery to have that removed. We've had biopsy, we did a sonogram on it. I don't get mammograms since I've already had a mastectomy, but everything was inconclusive. And I knew intuitively, I know my body, I knew it was going to be cancerous, but other people really weren't ready to hear that. And they're, everybody wants to only hear the positive. They're like, no, don't say that, think positive. And it's like, oh, I am positive, but I know myself. And I was freaked out by having surgery for sure. Because I've been through it, I know how much it sucks. But that was last Thursday, and I'm good. I've healed up, I'm healing well from that. And then just received the pathology today, so that it was again cancerous and the same kind. And I carry the BRCA2 gene, so I have the genetic predisposition. I'm 4th generation in my family on my mother's side to have breast cancer. My mom died at like 36. And part of that too, I felt like she gave her body to science so I could live. And the first time she came down with cancer, she was 7 months pregnant with me. And I do believe, in fact, when I've gone through hypnosis, that is my first memory, is my fear of being inside her with her stress and anxiety of having breast cancer when she was, 32 years old. And that she couldn't have chemo and that she couldn't be treated because she was saving my life. And so it's an interesting thing that on a subconscious level that we carry these things through us and we hold on to these memories. And I was fascinated that came up in hypnosis because it blew my mind. But I've also, if you've ever read The Biology of Belief, it talks about that, how babies in utero, we play music for babies in our bellies, and the daddy talks to the tummy. And, we think about all that because they know, they hear, they understand. So my mom was in a point of fear and anxiety during those last couple months of pregnancy. And that is something that stayed with me through my life and how I dealt with my life. I was a fighter, I was always a survivor, and I still very much am that person. So I had anxiety going into surgery. Now that surgery's done, I'm pretty good. I know that, okay, so now I have cancer and I'm gonna have to do some radiation and maybe some chemo. I didn't have to do those before, but since we're repeating the process, and what's left in my breast is really just, it's kind of like an orange peel. It's got that pithy stuff on the inside. So, you know, the fact that I could even develop cancer when I only have 8 to 10% of my cells is kind of a big deal. So, but going through chemo and radiation, not the end of the world for me. And I also don't feel like I'm going to die right now. Everybody's, you know, in the end, we will all die. And death is not something I fear because I've always known death. My mom died when I was 4. I've lost many animals, many people. I've lost a child. So you go through all these things in life and you learn that life always carries on. And also, we're not just this body, we're the soul, and the soul's never gonna die. And you know, we see people that are there, we see that our loved ones from the other side come through and shine through in our life for us. And so I feel all of that so strongly that I'm very okay with whatever I have to do in this process. Okay, so now let's talk about what I kind of wanted to share with you today. This process came from Tarot for Yourself by Mary Kay Greer. This is an old publication. She has a newer one now. Great workbook. She likes to leave lots of big open space so you can make your notes in here, which is really awesome because she likes to draw and scribble, and I definitely fill up my pages and do my notes and things. When I found out I had cancer the first time, I had just gone to the Reader Studio in New York. That's held by the Tarot School, and it was my first one. And I walked into an empty room first in the morning and put my stuff down at an empty table at the front. And I like to sit up front. I'm always a front row girl in school and stuff, mainly because I can't pay attention if I sit at the back. So I sat at the front, left the room, came back later. And a friend of mine came up to me. She's like, "Oh my God, how did you get this seat?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "You're sitting with Mary Kay Greer and Rachel Pollack." And as it turned out, I was sitting with the speakers and the foremost authors on Tarot at the time, and still probably to this day, were sitting at my table with me. And I was like, divine timing. I knew I was supposed to go to this reader studio, even though I was not yet an advanced reader. I remember my teacher going, "Are you sure you want to sign up for this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, totally." So, you know, for me, and knowing my sense of path and the direction I needed to go, it's right there. I knew it was right there. It was never about money. It was just what I was passionate about. So I always went for that. And that weekend, Mary taught this really cool lesson, and it's from that book, Tarot for Yourself. And what she said was, okay, she put out crayons on the table, and she said, "I want you guys to draw 3 cards, and you're gonna draw them interacting with each other." And so that's what we did. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is really cool." And she had us do some writing about it, which I'll explain as we go. And I just loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So when I got home, I started a journal. And about 6 weeks into the journal, I went for my mammogram, and they were like, "Oh, you have clusters of cancer cells in your right breast." And bing, bing, bing. I was like, oh, I've been drawing clusters of stones in my drawings for weeks. And so I actually feel that I started the book when the cancer started, and that I used that book in this journal of artistic drawings, not good art, but just the drawings of my readings, to transformed myself through that whole cancer process. And then the following year, I came back and I told everybody at the Reader Studio, I was like, this is what I did with that. And Mary was so touched. She had me present with her at the Bay Area Tarot Symposium, which was just wonderful. And so that was part of what I got to do with this. And I've never published it or anything. It's too personal. It's my journal. So, okay. So, if, for example, I worked with the Druid craft deck during this, and this is, so I pulled up Six of Swords, Queen of Swords, and Prince of Swords. And I literally kind of like copied these images. I tried to keep them as much like the drawing as possible. And this is what I came up with. So we have our Queen of Swords. She is now falling from her chair. We have the boat from the Six of Swords. And here's our queen. We'll put her right there under my thumb. And then I had the Knight of Swords. And him, I really kept him very much the way he was, except I made him maybe a little less angry if I could. And so what happened with this is we take this drawing and then we get to kind of analyze that and intuit that, which is so super cool. So we write down the deck, which was Druid Craft. We write our question that we wanted to know. We write down the cards, and then we write the title of what we want to call this painting or drawing. We write a summary, and then we write a task or a ritual. And then we leave space. So I left a couple of pages here afterwards. And we keep revisiting this drawing for several weeks and see how it transforms and changes. Now, some things that came out of this that were so super cool for me was that the tasks that I put down, or the ritual that I put down, and for me it was typically a task because I didn't find myself to be super ritualistic. I, on subconscious level, would put myself through every single task that I wrote down. So I continually evolved from each drawing. And I would also revisit each drawing, say a week later, 2 weeks later, and see how much it still applied to my life and how do I view this drawing now that some time has passed. What transpired from this? So it was really, really powerful for me. And just, you know, I really loved doing it. I enjoyed doing the drawing work and doing the writing. My kids were little, so, you know, there was nap time to work on that. And I worked on this process for about a year. It's not like I did it every day, but, you know, it was about a couple hours of my time each time I sat down to do it. But, you know, I was in a healing process in my life. I wanted to grow spiritually. I was focused in that direction. So that was part of the goal of that. Here, for example, here's a cluster of stones, and they've got red on them. They're kind of fiery and heated. And that's before I even knew. So that was kind of interesting. This drawing, I just wanted to share with you, I made the earth upside down. And here I had actually already found out. And what I did is I took the landscape from this lover's card and I put it in here. So that was just kind of an interesting way. I took the people out of it. I took 2 of cups and I put the 2 cups there, which of course look like 2 breasts. Or two cups. And then I also took just the cape from this 6 of Wands, and I covered the stone with this red cape. So then we've got this sort of heaving, heated area once again. And did I know at this point? No. Okay, so at this point I didn't even know I had breast cancer, and I'm even drawing something about like cups. So that was kind of interesting. Now, naturally, I was also processing things with my relationship, and I do think it takes, I think it takes a good like 17, 18 years to know your partner really well to get over the junk. So anybody who knew me in my youth, I always, I had to really struggle to find my own balance of power within myself about my relationship. It's not that I had a particularly controlling husband. It was actually that I didn't know what I could control. And that shifted for me in, I think, like our 18th year of marriage. And it actually had a lot to do with just starting to take vacations on my own. Once I did that, and I could show myself that kind of self-love, completely changed things for me. So, but that's an interesting thing to learn about yourself and to learn with your partner. But there was definitely never a doubt that I loved my husband. I just had to work through my own inabilities to be in a relationship, which we all go through. So that's just a really wonderful kind of creative process that you can do if you want to navigate a specific topic in your life, even if you don't know what that topic is. I thought I was going to be navigating my spiritual journey and how to grow in my relationship, and I did do all that. But I also navigated healing myself, my physical body and my spiritual body in this world. And that's just something I wanted to share with you all. So I hope that it kind of helps you on your journey. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'm happy to help. You can also, certainly, I would recommend getting Mary Kay Greer's book, Tarot for Yourself, or following her blog. She's got a lot of interesting information on there. I mean, she is definitely the queen in the tarot world. As well as Rachel Pollack and the Tarot School in New York. So all good reference points. So thanks everybody for listening in. Love to hear your feedback, and take care. Bye.